All right, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. This is Dr. Ephraim. Today's date is October 13th, 2022, and I'm saying Ahaya Bayashim Yeshua HaMashiach Baruch Atah Adonai. And if you're listening to the sound of my voice, you were blessed to see another day. And for that, all praise, honor, and glory is due to the Most High God of Israel. All right, fam, we're going to get into the lineage or the family tree of the father of many nations, Mr. Abraham. I put together a nice visual chart, if you will, human chart, and put everything together because, like I said before, the Bible really spells out everything for us. We just, we have to put it together or whatever. But before we even get into today's lesson, I wanted to preface by saying this. Because it's important, right? With all these lessons, and I have over 100, 160, 170, I don't know how many, a lot of lessons, right, over the years, but we've uncovered a lot. I presented a lot of information, right? Sometimes when in discovery and research, you actually elicit more questions and answers. That's just how it is, and I feel that that's by design. The Most High is just not going to let us figure everything out. I mean, he's just not. It is what it is. But I always encourage you all to do your own research. On top of what I present to you. I try to give you the highlights. The most important aspects of whatever the topic is, right? But I need to say this because I'm getting a lot of new people to the channel, and they have no idea, who I am and where they are. I don't know if the video just popped up and they just kind of saw it and just started talking, typing. But I'm starting to see just a bunch of, I don't say a bunch, but I'm starting to see some really off-brand, ignorant comments. From people who clearly don't have no idea what they're talking about. They're just typing because they can. They have a phone and they can, and I can't want to allow that. I built this channel up to, my channel was built on, trust, right? And, and respect. And I've seen some disrespectful comments. I'm not going to get too much into that, but yeah, I'm not going to allow anyone to be disrespectful to me or anyone, on the channel. I'm just not going to allow that. You can say how you feel respectfully, and that's fine, but the disrespect won't be allowed. I'm not going to let you disrespect anyone. But one comment in particular really stood out to me because someone tried to say that Jacob and Esau, were brothers, obviously, and had the same father, so they had the same DNA. I'm like, oh my God, that is just so blatantly wrong. So we're going to start from, well, first let me say this. When the Most High separated the nations in Rebecca's womb, what he was basically saying is that he was going to split their Y DNA haplotypes, okay? Your Y DNA haplotype represents which bloodline you come from. There's no way the Most High was going to allow Jacob and Esau to have the same Y DNA haplotype. People, why would he do that when Jacob's seed was the chosen nation? How would we know who was Jacob? That's just it. We wouldn't, right? But he made it to where he did that for us because obviously he knows. But it doesn't. It's just so illogical for Jacob and Esau to have the same Y DNA haplotype as Jacob because we wouldn't know who the chosen seed was. That's why the Most High told him he was going to separate. That's what that scripture and verse means. He literally did that. That's extraordinary. Only the Most High could do something like that because yes, what is true is normally a son or two sons born of one man has that one man's haplotype normally and ordinarily. But this was no ordinary situation. The Most High is far from ordinary. I mean, think about it, from destroying the world with the flood to repopulating it with basically 3 brothers. I mean, how extraordinary is that? And all these different races of people. And then, I mean, just think about it. So there was nothing ordinary about the birth of Jacob and Esau. And no, they do not have the same Y DNA haplotype. And the separation that the Most High performed, made sure of that. I mean, because you got to look at the continuity aspect of it, right? Yeah, ordinarily that it wouldn't be that way, but we're not talking about an ordinary circumstance at all. The Most High is all-knowing, omnipotent. You know, he has the gift of foresight, insight, and whatever other sight you can think of, right? But when he told the children of Israel, he says, "For you are a holy people to the Lord your God. The Lord your God has chosen you to be a special people to himself." Right? That's Deuteronomy 7:6. What does that mean? Special people. He's chosen us. Does that mean we're better than other nations? No. Does that mean we're more superior than other nations? No. Or maybe somehow we're this quote unquote master race of people? No. None of those things could be further from the truth. But I will tell you this from my perspective. There is no nation or race of people that possesses the E1b1a. Let me say that one more time. There's no nation of people in Africa, and I mean nowhere, that possesses the E1b1a. If that doesn't make us quote unquote special, I don't know what does. And I'm going to leave it there. Okay? So I hope you all enjoyed this lesson. Breaking down the family tree of Abraham and Haplogroup E and the formation of the ancient Israelite nation. Let's get it. Oh, and if you're new to the channel, please make sure you hit that like and subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you'll be notified every time I upload a new presentation or lesson or a thinking out loud segment or anything like that. All right. So until next time, let's talk to you from signing off. Saying hi by Yeshim Yeshua HaMashiach Baruch Atu Adonai Shalom Elect. Today's lesson, I'm going to deal with the genetic breakdown of Abraham's family tree and the formation of Haplogroup E and the ancient Israelite nation. All right, I've gotten a few questions about it, and so I figure, well, okay, we'll address the genetic breakdown of Abraham's family tree, the father of many nations. And let me say this, because I've said it before, but with a lot of these lessons and with a lot of my research, and please believe, over the years I've put in countless hours of research between Torah and books, and that nature, things of that nature. But here's the thing, I don't ever want anyone to think that I'm above reproach, or everything that I say is just perfect, right, and exact, and whatever the case may be, because that's not the case. But here's what I do know for a fact. I do know for a fact that Negroes all over the world, not just African Americans, but all in Africa and all over the transatlantic, Puerto Ricans, everyone that has Negro races mixed into their nation. I know that Negroes possess the Y DNA haplotype of E1b1a. I know that for a genetic fact, and I know that also for a genetic fact that Negroes are not from the bloodline of Ham, as they've told us ad nauseum for so many years, out of due to our ignorance, because we didn't know any better. So I do know that for a genetic fact. Everything else is up for healthy dialogue. Now I don't mind people adding things or asking questions, because honestly speaking, there's questions I can't answer. There's questions I don't know why E1b1b is Ham's bloodline, but Esau defaulted to it. What I do know is that they did, because we have the data. We have the data, and we have the images of what the people look like today that possesses that Y DNA haplotype. I mean, sometimes, with these lessons and these discoveries, we elicit more questions than answers. I mean, that's just how it is, right? Like I said in the other presentation, we're not going to know everything. We're not going to understand everything's not going to make sense. You can't bring in logic and reason all the time with a lot of what the Most High has put forth, because we're not going to figure him out and figure it out. We're just not, and I accept that. I stand on the fact that the most important things that we should know, that I know, and that's that, we are the children of the covenant, and we need to get back to that because we've lost our way, and many of us don't know who we are, and as such, we are living out the curses, which actually I'm going to, my first sermon on this Shabbat is going to be about the curses of the book of Deuteronomy, which I think is fitting. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. I'm going to definitely be in, in sermon mode for that. So you guys don't want to miss that. Look forward to it. So, yeah, that's what it is on this. So I just wanted to put that out there because I don't ever want anyone to think that I feel that I'm above reproach or that everything that I say is just perfect and that's the way it is. And no, please believe that's not my position at all. I do what I do. Some things is revealed to me, and I put it out there, but I'm never going to say that, whatever I say is just, 120%, this is a fact, actual fact. No, I put forth the effort, the work, the time and the study, and then I put it out there. Same thing with my Haplogroup DE project that I've been working on for a while, with the children of Joktan being Asians. That's going to be, a doozy. I haven't put it out there yet because I'm trying to make sure I dot all the I's and cross all the T's. All right, because I don't want to, ever do anything halfway. So, that being said, let's get into the genetic breakdown of Haplogroup E of Abraham and the formation of the ancient Israelite nation. Let's get it. All right, and with that said, we are off and running to start the presentation. Now, Abraham's family tree and the visual graph of Haplogroup E and the formation of the ancient Israelite nation. Let me start off by saying first, for the unlearned, if you will, let me state for the record, first and foremost, you have to have faith in the belief in who we are. You have to have a faith and belief in the Most High. You have to have faith and belief in the Torah and all the things associated with it, okay? That said, when you haven't believed that the curses in Torah or the book of Deuteronomy fit the Negroes and the Negro races all over the world and so-called African Americans that went back into slavery by way of slave ships, Deuteronomy 28 and 68, you don't need the actual DNA of Abraham, Jacob, or Isaac, okay? Because these people who you believe to be Israelites had a Y DNA haplotype, as all men do, flesh and bones, right? They weren't ghosts walking around. They were flesh and bones. They were human. All men have a Y DNA haplotype. The Torah spells out in great detail what this DNA tree illustrates. Now, we can talk about logical sequencing and logical conclusion, but truthfully, it's just plain common sense. I mean, a person of average intelligence can put this chart together, because it's literally laid out for us in Torah by the same Most High God who you claimed and profess to believe in, but somehow doubt his DNA coding of the children of Israel, whom he chose above all nations. Now, how does that work exactly? Starting with the slaves who were on those slave ships, and their Y DNA has been identified as E1b1b. Let's start from there. Go back to Torah and let it tell you which men those slaves descended from, and match the haplogroups appropriately. This isn't Chinese math. The spirit of ignorance is only prevalent if you feed it and desire to remain in that state. The slaves on those ships whose DNA is E1b1b are the lost sheep of Israel. Obviously and clearly, they have to be the seeds of Jacob. As such, if their DNA is E1b1b, then obviously and logically Jacob's DNA had to be E1b1b as well, if they are the children of Israel, and he is the patriarch and father of the 12 tribes. You can't have one without the other. I mean, it's common sense and not hard to tie together at all. The thing is, either you believe or you don't. And it's really as simple as that. It's truly a shame that even in this day, more Israelites can't seem to grasp how the Torah gives us a genetic breakdown of our bloodline and why DNA haplogroups of who is who and how Israel was formed via Abraham and haplogroup E. The Most High created man. He and he alone owns our special genetic coding inside of our blood, not science. Again, this is why no other race or nation of people on this planet possesses the Y DNA haplotype of E1b1a. Only the children of Israel, because the Most High said he was going to choose that nation above all nations on the earth. Okay? Now, I've said this before as well. DNA is the truth revealer. You know, and a lot of times when people take a DNA test, it comes back with results that they aren't willing to accept, or maybe they thought something different for a long time, and the DNA reveals the truth and it's not what they wanted to hear. Well, I mean, that's unfortunate, but you know, DNA cannot lie. Only men do that. It's like the Most High is not a man that he should lie, and he can't be tempted. Okay, you might not like what the results say of your DNA test or whatever, but it is your truth, right? I mean, many literally have gotten angry with me because they took a DNA test. They believe themselves to be Israelites, an Israelite. I'm sorry, and their DNA test revealed them to be something else. Case in point, it was this young man. I decided not to put his face out there or his name. But he came by one of our communities, and you know, clearly, I mean, if you look at him, you know, initially he looks, you know, like he definitely has some features in him that's not Negro. But you know, if you look at him in a general sense, he looks black. But come to find out, when he took his DNA test, came back, he was E1A. Well, what is E1A? Many of you might be sitting there wondering. E1A, my people, was Ishmael. So this man was a genetic Ishmaelite. Literally, he was directly descendant from Ishmael. And he was so disappointed, you know, he didn't see just how great and profound that in itself was. He just was disappointed that it didn't come back that he was E1b1a. And then he got upset, he got angry, you know, started saying a bunch of things. I just told him, hey, look, man, I said E1a. I was like, listen, I've talked to a lot of people, right? I've never met a direct descendant of Ishmael. I said, do you know how large and how profound that is? You know, and I think once I kind of started talking to him, then it kind of started hitting him. But he was disappointed. I get it, you know, but his DNA was his truth. He's a descendant of Ishmael. All right. I mean, and a lot of them, they start trying to discredit the genetic DNA teachings, which, you know, is kind of hilarious, because the Most High is the architect of our DNA, and no man can dispute or refute that. But, you know, it's not about what you want or don't want to accept, though. Your DNA, again, will reveal with 100% accuracy what your Y DNA haplotype is and which nation/bloodline you come from. I mean, I get it. A lot of you have either thought, claimed, or would like to be an Israelite by blood lineage. Never mind you still being able to sojourn for the Most High to consider you like us. But either you possess the E1b1a, Y DNA of Jacob, or you don't. If you don't, you are not a genetic Israelite. It's as simple as that. And it's of no consequence who believes that or who doesn't. It's the 100% unadulterated genetic truth, and nothing you or anybody can do or say about it. All right? So, that being said, here's the breakdown of Abraham's family tree as it relates to haplogroup E and the formation of the ancient Israelite nation. Haplogroup E1, all right? You won't find anyone on the planet with this haplogroup because it belongs to Abraham, the man himself, the father of many nations, right? And for a long time, Abraham and Sarah couldn't have a child, so Sarah gave him permission to have one with his bondwoman, Hagar, and Hagar bore him a son, Ishmael. That was Abraham's firstborn son. And as such, so it makes sense that Ishmael's haplogroup was E1a. That haplogroup belongs to Ishmael. So anyone who takes a DNA test and has an E1a haplogroup, congratulations. You are directly descended from Ishmael. You are an Ishmaelite. If you can get mad, yell, cuss, and scream, but I mean, if that's your truth, it is what it is. You might be a genetic Ishmaelite, but I mean, hey, from my understanding, all people, Gentiles, can sojourn with the children of Israel, but it's the Most High's chosen seed. All right, moving right along. Haplogroup E1b. Now this haplogroup belongs to Isaac, who is who the Most High has his covenant through, right? Abraham's son by Sarah. She finally bore him a son when she didn't think she could at 100 years old. And that's who the Most High's covenant is with. This haplogroup is literally the start of the Israelite nation. He passed this haplogroup on to both his sons, Jacob and Esau, but the Most High separated / split the nations / bloodlines in the womb of Rebekah for continuity's sake, because there would be no way for us to know who the children of the promise were if our DNA was the exact same as the descendants of Esau. I mean, think about that. How would we know? I mean, the Most High clearly knows, but how would we know? We wouldn't. That's the point. We all had the same Y DNA haplotype, so the Most High fixed that, and he split the nations in Rebekah's womb, because that would have been extremely confusing for us. But the Most High was well ahead of us all on this and his omnipotent wisdom, right? So he split the Y DNA of the two brothers and made them into separate nations, all right? Now, haplogroup E1b1a. That haplogroup belongs to the patriarch, our father, Jacob, aka Israel, and literally, that is the birth of the Israelite nation. Jacob is only one man, so all of his seeds will have E1b1a in their Y DNA haplotype in all of its subgroups. I personally believe all the different subgroups was so that we as a nation could procreate without any genetic problems or issues. That's what I think. Because the Most High in his infinite wisdom, he knew we all couldn't be from the same father and some same mothers and procreate and have children. So all the subgroups, I think, represents different things in us all, so that we could be able to kind of keep our nation within ourselves and stay within our nation, procreate, have children, and be genetically fine. That's what I think all the different subgroups is about of E1b1a. That's my personal hypothesis. I don't know that for 100% fact, but I believe that to be true. All right, and then you factor in Ephraim and Manasseh, because they were grafted into the house of Joseph, so that makes the total tribes 14. So all of the descendants of the 14 tribes of Israel belong to one of the 14 E1b1a Y DNA haplogroups. They are Negroes. These are Negroes, I'm sorry, and your true Israelites walking around all over the planet today. All right, have that established. Now, haplogroup E1b1b. Now, this is the haplogroup of contention for so many reasons, man. Oh, my God. As a matter of fact, the second half of this lesson, we're going to kind of deal with this haplogroup a little more extensively, because, I mean, I think, the E1b1a speaks for itself. We've got that established, right? But haplogroup E1b1b, this haplogroup is actually Ham's bloodline. Ham, right? And this haplogroup belongs to Ethiopians, the original Egyptians, Africans or the Canaanites, and Libyans. But for some reason, the seeds of Esau defaulted to this haplogroup as well. Why? I honestly can't answer that. I really can't. Only the Most High can. But what I can answer and what I do know is that what I just said is true, because a lot of the Sephardic Jews, the Ashkenazi Jews, etc., even Napoleon Bonaparte, he possessed this Y DNA haplotype. The long-held belief and dissemination to the world that this haplogroup E1b1b is Jewish is false. The reality is the seeds of Edom/Esau defaulted to it, and E1b1a is the what I call holy haplotype of the children of Israel, not E1b1b. E1b1a is not Hamitic, and this does not hold up to genetic scrutiny, like at all. I have labored hard and diligently to continue to bring you all of this truth, when the reality is some days I felt like saying, you know what, I'm not even going to deal with it. And I've taken hiatuses, but I can't leave you guys. I love my people too much. No matter how many devils come my way, and they've been getting less and less over the years, which is cool. But it's all for a purpose. I love having a platform and being the voice that you guys, my true supporters, listen to and support me, and that's great. All praise due to the Most High, by Yeshua HaMashiach. And we're going to continue to deal with this. So let's go ahead and close this section down and just go to the next slide and section, dealing more in depth with haplogroup E1b1b, because that one is let's go to that one, to the next slide. All right, E1b1b. Man, the geographic distribution of that haplotype is as follows. All right, outside Europe, E1b1b is found at high frequencies in Morocco, and that's Northern Africa, over 80%. Somalia, over 80%. Ethiopia, over 80%. Now let's pause for a minute. So that lines up with all of the genetic data and DNA data that I've put forth in all of my lessons up to this point, that proves E1b1b is the bloodline of Ham, because all of those frequencies that I just listed, those are Hamitic peoples. Okay, they are Ham's children. So in that, there's no doubt. Okay, yet a lot of so-called quote-unquote Europeans possess that haplotype as well. Okay, so it lines up. Now let's see the visual of E1b1b. Let's see if the visual of what these people look like holds up to genetic scrutiny. Right? Let's see some Hamites and Europeans that possess the E1b1b today or even throughout history. Let's see what they look like. I bet many of y'all know this brother. He's probably the most famous Hamite in the world in existence. The 44th president of the United States, Barack Hussein Obama, he possesses the E1b1b Y DNA haplotype, and he is descended from his father, who's an African from the Luo tribe in Kenya. Okay, now he was referred to many a times as quote-unquote African American, but the reality is he is not African American. He did not come or descend from the slaves that were that came to this country via the transatlantic slave trade. All right, but what better person to use as the face of the Hamitic line of E1b1b than Barack Obama? Everyone knows him, right? But there you go. He's from his father, the Luo tribe in Kenya, and they are Hamitic people. So Barack Obama is directly descendant. He's a Hamite. All right. So now let's see some Europeans who possess that same haplotype. This is just so intriguing, man. I mean, it's like, wow. I mean, because you can't deny DNA, man. I mean, your DNA is what it is, right? So let's see what the Europeans that possess this Y DNA haplotype of E1b1b. Let's see what they look like. And well, there you go. there's a really nice sample size of European men or European looking men who possessed the E1b1b Y DNA haplotype. Now, I don't know about you, but I mean, clearly none of them look African or, you know, have any African features or look Hamitic or anything. Yet, that being said, these men that we're looking at, they possess the same Y DNA haplotype as Hamitic Africans. So how do you explain that? Well, I'll tell you how I explain it, how I've always explained it. And I don't know why it's the way it is, but for whatever reason, between Jacob and Esau, I believe these men right here we're looking at, and all the European men that possess the E1b1b Y DNA haplotype, I believe them to be descended from Esau. That's what I believe. Because I do not believe they were descended from Ham. I don't believe that. But yet they possess Ham's haplotype. How did they get it? Like I've always said, they defaulted. Why? I do not know that. So please stop asking me. I do not know why Esau defaulted to E1b1b and Jacob E1b1a. I just know that he did. And I believe these men we're looking at to be descended from, I believe them to be Esau. Okay? It just adds to the fascination, right, of this whole DNA thing. I mean, I'm pretty sure the Most High could have given them a totally different haplotype, but he didn't. You know, they possess the same haplotype as Ham. I don't know why. We just know that they do because we have the data and we have the images of what these men look like. Okay? So don't get it twisted. So, but anyway, let's go ahead and wrap this up. Hopefully, I covered the breakdown of haplogroup E and as it relates to the family tree of Abraham. And like I said, sometimes we get more questions than answers. But hey, I love doing what I do for you guys. I look forward to the next presentation, next lesson. So until then, hope you all have a great, productive, and blessed day. This is Dr. Ephraim signing off, saying Ahaya by Yeshua HaMashiach Baruch Atah Adonai.